What's your name?
My name is Daniel.
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 You're going to have a minute to pitch and tell us what you're building and get some feedback. Are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome. What are you building?
Yeah, I'm Daniel and I'm co-founder and CTO of the Mark AI Marketer. And we're building a vertical AI agent built for coaches and consultants. In last decade, we've got two problems mainly in internet marketing. Marketing software is very complex, and the human marketers are very expensive, unpredictable, and non-controllable. So we built the AI agent, which actually does the work for you. Builds funnels, hosting websites, writes email sequences, send the emails, doing CRM, analytics, etc. That's it.
Oh, well under a minute.
Thank you.
Generally speaking, makes sense. Agentic vertical plays, are frequent now. So, I understand it. I get it. I would love to hear how you think about this being differentiated compared to A, competitors in the space that are also starting now.
Yeah.
B, how things might change, as the foundational models improve, as, the way people's jobs might change how you build the tool. What's your sense of how you place yourself in this larger environment?
Yeah, so our idea and our, I would say, superpower is having the underlying platform, so which we don't have like in a ChatGPT or something like this, because they do the recommendations mainly. They can build the code for you or they can build a website for you, but you have to implement it and host it somewhere, right? And you have to hire somebody on Upwork to do the technical part. So we kind of combine everything else, and this is your technician 24/7, always available online for you.
The two things I could, push back on there, I could either say, hey, there are going to be updates to these foundational models, either in the capability of the AI itself or in the applications that they build that'll allow them to integrate with tools to take more actions on your behalf.
Yeah.
So you could argue that OpenAI, Anthropic, et cetera, might build things that compete with you. The other argument would be, great, okay, fine, I accept that they won't, but you're going to have a lot of competitors. Therefore, is this a good business because of how much kind of intensity and competition there will be? Feel free to react to either of those.
Yeah, of course. There are a lot of competitors, of course, in this area. But the thing is that to build this kind of platform and to overcome these problems you encounter to build functional funnel system with all of this customization everybody needs, it's the long time goal to do and a lot of work to do. So we building mainly the upgraded interface with UI, I would say. So before it has a lot of buttons here and there, but now you have only one conversation and this guy does everything for you. So this is what our idea is.
How do you plan to acquire your customers?
It's just a social media and word of mouth and just the ads.
I think this is, I'll give you a kind of where I'm at with this. I don't know that this is compelling because of how happenstance all of this has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe an example of what I mean by that. When you respond to the competition by saying, hey, it's going to take a long time for other people to build.
Yeah.
That's true. That doesn't mean they won't build it. And it doesn't mean you will also not have to, kind of build it over time. Or when he says, how will you acquire customers? I think he's looking for differentiation. He might care about that, but it's like he's asked because he's like, okay, let me find something else, he might say. Because you said the word superpower, but you didn't really reveal superpower. You just revealed something that is required to build your business.
Yeah.
My hypothesis is you might actually have a generic approach. That doesn't mean you can't win. But currently what you're pitching for sure is just, hey, I'm the marketing co-pilot and that's all
general
it is.
Stuff.
Yeah. And if you do that, then you're going to need a lot of traction before, have you raised any money yet?
Oh, we did.
How much?
250.
250, okay. So maybe when you get to your next round, you're going to need a lot more traction, and that's going to be the thing that gets larger stage investors to come in, and your product is going to need to be more competitive to win market share. Versus maybe, and this is something we can talk more about, maybe there's a theory behind the product that drives it. And I'll give an example of kind of what does a theory sound like. I'll give a trivial example. It won't necessarily make sense. Maybe your theory is all marketing needs to start from the basis of this again won't make sense, but just as an example, image generation. And so unlike everyone else's product, we're going to rely on image generation first, even when we're crafting email, because you need to see how it looks before you even decide to press send. It's not just the copy, we're going to use a diffusion model to render it in different browsers. I don't know. But like there's some underlying, I'm using the word theory, but there's some other word I'm reaching for. Premise, yeah. That will impact all of your approach, right? It'll impact it's not one feature, it's not one moment, but instead, while you're competing with everyone else, it's the difference between you and everyone else, even as you all tackle each other. So that's the feeling. And again, maybe you go, there is no underlying premise that's different than everyone else's, in which case I go, that doesn't mean you can't win, but it is much harder to win the investor moments.
I think the big thought that comes to mind is I would like to see more edge and more point of view. More point of view saying, here's a specific opinion about how we think things should be.
Opinion, that's what I wanted.
But if you're saying
Product having an opinion.
Hey, I'm going to join another fish in the pond. It's like, cool. What does that mean? And then edge would say, what is the bet somebody's taking on you? This person has this thing, and then I can underwrite to that specific leverage point. Right now, it's like you put a Volkswagen Beetle on a magazine page, you will have a point of view on it. You either hate it or you love it. And if you buy it, you're buying it for a reason. You put a white Honda Accord that doesn't have anything about fuel economy or whatever, it's like you don't have a reason why you'd say yes or no. So I think getting to a very specific opinion and a very specific bet in terms of some point of leverage or a unique edge you have, I think are the things. Otherwise, they say, like, I see on average 5,000 companies a year. I pick maybe 5 that I'm going to take a look at and invest in. So it's saying why those ones, and you got to have the very clear reason of why you.
This is really well said. The thing that I tell job seekers in the context of the startup I have, and then founders on this stage, is it's actually great to be rejected for the right reasons. To your point of is there a clear ability to say yes or no? And right now there's no clear ability to say yes or no. And I tell this especially to job seekers, but even founders who again haven't offered that very sharp-edged version of a pitch. Because then the person on the other side just has to like you, or you have to be lucky. Again, think about job search. It's like every product manager sounds the same. Every leader says, I like to be a player coach and have one-on-ones and empower my team. It's like, okay, how are you different? Now, here's the thing that I give job seekers that maybe we can find together, because job seekers will often say something generic. They'll often say, I'm a 0 to 1 product person. And I go, okay, great. There's 2 things that you can do. You either have something that is specific. So you as a leader, maybe you say, I like to hire former founders. That is actually opinionated enough that not many people say it. That'd be a unique thing to bet on. Or we need to find why the generic thing, I'm a player coach, can be specific or grounded. The example that I give here, if someone wants to say they're a player coach and provide evidence, they might get sentimental about it. So they might go, actually, I remember the first time in my career I had a player coach. I had a manager first, my first job, and they were more of a manager's manager. And they were great, but ultimately, I remember the moment that my career really shifted when they left the company and I got a player coach manager. And that player coach manager really accelerated my career. Because they were in the weeds with us, because they were doing the work collaboratively, blah, 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 suddenly I became so much better at all these things. And that's when I realized I wanted to become a player coach. In other words, the sentimentality at least gives evidence and grounding to the generic story. Is there something, either in your background that you haven't talked about yet, or the moment in time when you started this company, or in some small sliver, where if we're not going to find an opinion, maybe we find grounding. Again, even maybe sentimental.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So last decade, we are building these marketing tools for businesses. And we built one startup that failed completely. Another one, we have exited the last one with the 50x of annual revenue. And now we had the time and money to build our new system. So we have all the knowledge and all of the usage of the...
Those are both martech startups as well?
No, it wasn't. It was before Mark AI.
They're marketing tech?
Marketing tech, yeah, definitely.
What were they?
It was mostly for online schools and online courses. And like when you sell online courses, not on the like Udemy or something, then 90% of your success is marketing. Because how do you sell the course? Because
you're not on a directory.
Yeah. So like the main success is marketing, and 90% is marketing. And our previous platform was built for like online courses, but with the targeting on marketing. now we wanted to narrow our target audience to coaches and consultants, because we know that they need to do quick changes, quick start, and the quick marketing. So like change the website, etc.
Your pitch should be, I'm Daniel. I've had 2 startups in martech. The latest one, most successful one, targeted courses and coaches, providing them manual marketing technology for email, for retargeting, for advertising. And we exited that business. But what we learned, and what is really complicated about marketing today, is if especially you're a solo practitioner, you're a small team, you need to make a lot of changes, really quickly across a lot of different platforms. And in all of that learning and all of the expertise that we built, we've decided to actually take on the point of Mark AI. Mark AI?
Yeah.
An AI marketing copilot starting for coaches and courses, where we've really taken all the best practices, the principles, the approaches and data that we've had over the past decade that we've built not only as a platform, but we've seen the data of all of our customers. It's infused in something more intelligent, contextual to the coaches and the courses that we're going to target at first and grow from there. Like, the narrative here doesn't, by the way, make it obvious to invest in you. Mm-hmm. So in other words, a lot of people still say no because they're going to go, it's still going to be competitive, or I don't like courses and coaches, or whatever. But they're going to reject you for a specific reason, which is I don't like coaches and courses, or the differentiation is not going to be that large that I want to make that bet, or I don't like automation and marketing, or whatever. But at least it's specific, right?
Yes,
makes
sense.
It makes you very distinct in that, because I like, sounds like you have a lot more you brought to the table than you revealed up until that question.
Yeah, like 45 seconds. Yeah, even I did half of my speech, but anyways.
Yeah.
Because of the first time.
I think it's true. You got to give them hypotheses to say yes or no to.
Yeah.
Can't give them generally cloud. There's nothing to punch against.
Even in a minute, there's ways to drive by, right? So there's ways to get those sentences. I think it's your first time. I'm not saying this is a fundamental flaw, but that's my feedback to you, is think about how do you condense a lot of that context to a little bit of world building around yourself.
Yeah, very valuable.
When you get to that, it's going to have that impact. Because as soon as you said that, I said, why have we not heard this yet? And we're halfway through the conversation.